ability, and more. With her speaking engagements, she aims to show that adversity, while sometimes unavoidable, can produce positive course corrections. In fact, she knows this intimately from personal experience. She only relates true antidotes to her audiences. Lake Erie Spiritual Community, please help me welcome Stephanie Allensworth.
Thank you, Neil. Hello, beautiful people. Whew. Welcome. And hey, laughing yoga. Oh, does that sound awesome? Sign me up today. I'm here to talk about the healing power of laughter. Raise a hands if you remember a little book that was subscription only called The Reader's Digest. Does anybody remember the article in there called Laughter's the Best Medicine? It most definitely is. And I subscribed to that little book, and I could hardly wait to read it every week. I think it was a weekly subscription, yeah. And because, people would donate stories to that book. Magazine, it was just so tiny, though. And I could hardly wait to read the little stories that were going to make me smile for the day. That being said, there is a lot of scientific evidence about how healing via laughter, and yoga laughter apparently, or laughter yoga, is a real thing. And I'm going to read these because there was too much for me to memorize. So this is the light version, and I think we already know this one, right? Laughing suppresses stress hormones and boosts endorphins, creating serotonin and dopamine, which are associated with happiness and stress. It reduces stress. We all knew that, right? But did we know it enhances our physical health? It improves oxygen intake and stimulates the heart and lungs, activates the body's stress response, promoting overall well-being. Sounds like a nice thing to do. I bet after that yoga, you're really enjoying that moment. It improves mental health as well. So should have realized that. Laughter yoga has been shown to be effective in improving depression and life satisfaction, particularly in elderly women. And I did not know this myself, but laughter can increase pain tolerance and improve overall well-being, making a natural form of medicine. Promotes social connections, and I really believe that with all my heart. Sharing a good laugh with somebody is, you bond at a whole nother level when you can find the same things funny. So now I did that light version. I'm going to go deep dive on us here, and hopefully some of this went over my head so high it died from lack of oxygen. But so the science of laughing. Okay, so because humor isn't just entertainment, it's a resonance, it's a function, a field regulator, and a truth stabilizer. The deep cut here is your body releases contradiction without collapsing identity. When a paradox or unexpected shift hits our internal mode, we either fracture, which doesn't sound good, freeze in disbelief. Pray kind of does that. Laugh, which is the release, and laugh, of course, is the safest of the three. Humor is phase-corrected dissonance. A good joke bends logic, but lands in coherence. It distorts the field just enough to make you question it, but not enough to threaten your sense of self. And that's why the best humor walks the fine line between truth and taboo. Okay, it's getting way too deep in here for me. I don't want to read this whole thing. It's not organic, for one thing. But I want to talk about my father. My father lit up the room. He was the funny guy. He was always the guy that came in and made everyone laugh. He told jokes, said ridiculous things. he would do, belching and all that stuff. I don't know why bodily function makes people laugh, but apparently, it does. And I idolized him for that. I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be the person that walked in a room and cheered everybody up, especially if you're in a room where, well, it's probably not appropriate at sometimes, but. So, I want to tell a little story about my friend Mojo. I worked with Mojo, and he had, every day, he called them Mo-jokes. He would come in every day and tell us the joke of the day, the Mo-joke of the day. And it was always a bright little thing. He did it every day, no matter what his day was like. He would come in and do that, and we all really remembered that. And it just was what connected us all with Mojo. He's not with us anymore, so, but I still speak of him because I know he can hear me. And I have a ton of stories to tell, because I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. And I have a lot of anecdotes that are connected to things that I found funny or some things that shouldn't have been funny but were, like a particular time I was with a group of people at a dance recital, and it was a modern dance recital, and I got the giggles so bad, I couldn't stop it. And the guy next to me is like, shut up, shut up, shut up. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't shut up. And it just got worse and worse and worse until I had to get up and leave. But he started laughing too, because I guess, laughter is contagious, right? So there's nothing better than somebody with a great laugh too. When somebody has one of those laughs that just is contagious and everybody starts laughing and you don't even know why, it's just because they're laughing. That's one of my greatest things. So, and there's all kinds of different laughs. Let's start with the little one, the giggle, which I just did. The little shy little laugh. And then there's the knee slapper, and I'm not sure where that all came from, but I think when somebody told a knee slapping joke, that was that. There's a good, solid belly laugh, too. And I think that's the one that really gives you the paradigm shift. The kind of laugh that makes you laugh so hard, you can't even laugh anymore. You're just squeaking at this point. You can't talk, your face hurts, your stomach hurts. And so, does anybody have any anecdotes or stories they'd like to share about something that made them laugh so hard that I'll tell one first. Okay, when I was a kid, this is kind of goes into the category of when it's not appropriate to laugh, because I was one being laughed at. There's this big sliding hill across from the Institute of Arts. Anybody ever go tobogganing in there? Well, one year they had this just launching pad that was pure ice. And I had one of the metal flying saucers. And I got on that thing, and I was projected into orbit over Kathmandu and landed on my back and knocked the wind out of myself. And now I'm doing the crappie flop with all the kids standing around me, pointing and laughing. It's like, this is not funny. Why are you laughing? But that's just what kids do because they don't know what else to do. They weren't going to give me any mouth to mouth or anything. And I got to tell you about another one because I thought this was quite hilarious. I had given my mother, my 88-year-old mother, my phone, and when I got a new one, but I never changed the ringtone. And we were at a funeral. And lo and behold, that phone goes off. Ringtone? Rick James, Super Freak. Bum, ba-da-dum, ba-bum. Bottom, and I'm like scrambling for her purse, trying to sit on it, and it's like, oh my, trying to find it in her purse and shut it off. I laughed afterwards, but it wasn't kind of funny in the moment. This is something I learned as a talent agent, and being in the business for a long time. You probably don't know that about me, but I owned my own talent agency. Here in Minneapolis, actually Bloomington, and one in Beverly Hills for about 12 years. And I discovered that laughter is not universal. All of the people around the world will not laugh at the same jokes. They don't get it. Sometimes it's extremely insulting. But what is universal is the slapstick, pratfalls, the physical humor. That's why the shows that got the most traction worldwide were the ones that was all the physical humor and not necessarily joke telling, but just situational pratfalls and such. Excuse me, dry mouth. So I did that for a long time, and I learned I didn't like it. So how about funny movies? It's either got to be super action, generally like some butt-kicking gals for me to watch action. But I'll go to the comedies every time. And I love a good comedy. And I know people think it's really weird that my favorite comedy is Mel Brooks's Spaceballs, of all things. I mean, the humor in that movie, because it so relates to, Star Wars, and just, again, situational comedy, I don't know. Who's seen that movie? Hands? Yeah. Anybody else think it's funny? Yeah. Not everybody. I guess it's not for everybody. It's like the Kung Fu Hustle. And have you seen that? Anybody seen that one? Kung Fu Hustle is awesome. And I had some guy say, that movie stunk. I'm like, why would you think that stunk? I even watched it in, was it in Japanese or I don't remember what language it was in, but I watched it in that language and read the subtitles, but I didn't even need to. It was very, very funny. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. So I'm going to tell, I forgot about the snort laugh. Anybody familiar with that old snort laugh? The things that take you by surprise, and all of a sudden I was, yeah, I didn't want to snort in real life. It might make me cough. So going back to some other things that made me laugh was, and I don't know, this one's kind of a iffy one to be telling people I don't really know personally, but when I was a teenager, I lived in California, and my brother was missing a front tooth, so he had one of those plates that he had to take out and eat so he could eat. And we made sloppy joes one day for dinner. And so it's my two brothers, me, and my sister-in-law sitting at the kitchen table. And my brother takes a bite of food and sneezes. And it's like a turret. The sloppy joe just slams the table. It's everywhere. It's floating in our Kool-Aid. It's on our plates. And I fell out laughing. So did my sister-in-law, Diane. And my brother's mad at us now because we're laughing at him for his embarrassment. But it was just too funny. And so I'm laughing, almost falling out of my chair because it was ridiculous, of course. It's like that you can't plan something like that, And, well, maybe you can. But the worst part of it was when we looked up at him, then he had like a little something he needed a Kleenex for, and that just made it all the worse. Literally on the floor laughing, rolling around laughing on the floor, and eventually wet my pants because I couldn't take it anymore. It was like one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. But again, he never thought that was very funny. Kind of makes me laugh right now. So humor is, it's different for everybody. Not everybody's going to find the same thing funny. And I can even tell in this room, right now, some things are, funnier than others. And, I'm trying to make them a little more lively and, animated, because that's what I do. But Ed, I'm going to take a moment and tell you a little bit about myself for anybody that doesn't know me very well. So I told you I owned the talent agency, and I gave that up because, I was having a hard time with the whole business. but I also, after I closed the business, I started my own television show, and it's called Real People with Stephanie Allensworth, and it airs on local cable around here. I'm not sure if Minneapolis is still airing it or not. I send it to them when I tape, so, but I don't have that, access to that, so I don't really know. But I interview all kinds of interesting people, and a lot of the people that come here I've interviewed that come here to talk, like Patty Peterson and Kat Thompson and the Bodine family, and it's all about healing. When I came out to start up again this year for the new season, I wanted to focus on healing, and that's why I thought this was a great category for me, because there's so many different modes of healing. Like I'm a Reiki practitioner. I do energy work. I have, all kinds of, I've studied with Echo Bodine. I've studied with just about anybody that I could find, because I was drinking from the fire hose. I wanted to learn, and I've been doing it since 2017, I think, so quite a while. And the healing is so important, especially right now when we feel very fractured. Everything feels fractured. We got to find our funny again. Feel free to laugh. Tell funny stories. Don't be afraid people won't like them. It's not for everybody, but you might enjoy yourself, and they might enjoy yourself, and then you might make a deeper connection. So, I'm all about. I do all kinds of different things, but I also host a lot of people who do the things that I don't do, like the Akashic record readers and tarot card readers, like Nikki Bodine. She does the tarot. She's a pretty darn good reader if you've never done with her. But let's see, who else have we had that? It's all healing, like Reverend Carl. Does everybody know Reverend Carl? He does like this new DNA thing, this new DNA healing, where he can go into a spiritually lock onto your DNA and do some magic. And he's worked on me before too. I couldn't even believe the change that it made. So, and healing, of course, healing with laughter. It sounds scientific. It sounds hard to believe, but when you actually experience it, it goes to that next level. A good laugh is just a good laugh. You just have to roll with it. I'm trying to think who else have I had on my show. I've only got like 40-some episodes, maybe 50 episodes. Not everybody was a healer, so some people were just, selling their books and that sort of thing. So. But I have cards up here if anybody's interested. I've got one for my contact, and I'm also doing a little side hustle as a loan signing agent. Gotta get the water again. So if you want to grab a card, if anybody's interested, or if you need a notary, I can notarize just about anything. So I like to stay busy. Let's just say that. Yeah, people ask me how I can do all the things I do, and I'm like, you don't want to see me bored, that's for sure. I get into trouble when I'm bored. So 45 minutes is a long time. I went through that. I mean, I could read some more from the scientific, but I don't think anybody wants to hear that because it's just like way up there. But is it too odd for me to ask for people to share stories? If anybody wants to.
My daughter-in-law.
You want to speak in the microphone?
Sure. I thought you were holding. Okay, hello? Okay. So I was with my daughter-in-law and son, and they had some friends, poker night and other games, and my daughter-in-law hasn't played poker She's 27, and she hasn't played in probably 8 years or something, and she just got to laughing and stressing about every hand that we were playing. It's just quarter ante stuff, and just to laugh. But it was just so much fun, like you were saying. We just laughed so hard that I was snorting and all that stuff, and I feel still that high today. Just grateful for that. And then we played other games, and it was amazing, and it's
Yeah.
good. I love it.
Yeah, and you have the memory to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, and next time you play, you want to hope that happens again. Yeah, I want to come play with you. Quarter ante poker. Yeah, I grew up playing poker. They all around the dining room table. Yeah. Dealer's choice?
Yes.
Okay, just no crazy games. Anybody else got something they want to ask or share?
I was kind of curious, culturally, like in the South Pacific, Thailand, land of smiles and other things like that, where smiling is just the primary reaction. And I guess it sounds like energy is going this way or upward instead of the primary reaction being negative. And can you talk a bit about how to find the joy in those moments and things like that? I could share when I have an accident or drop something, quite often it gets me past that when you were describing before the 3 different ways that you react to an incident. And if you can expound upon that a bit.
Well, sure. And it depends on what the accident is, of course. But fracturing is because if you feel like it broke you, you know. And I always would expect that somebody was already a little bit broken before that happened, and it just kind of makes it worse. And I got to look back at what the 3 were here. Okay, and freezing. So fracture is trauma, and the freezing is disbelief. It's like, I cannot believe that happened. Like, I couldn't believe the kids are laughing at me because I got the wind knocked out of me and was flopping around like a fish on the snow. And then the big laugh, the release, we should all go for that release. Don't take it so seriously. Don't take life so seriously or yourself so seriously that you can't laugh at yourself. Because laughing at yourself and being able to laugh at yourself is very healthy. You don't want to turn that back into baggage, I'll tell you another little story, but this was very funny to me, and I assume anybody that saw it too. My husband and I were on vacation in Palm Springs, and we were sitting around the swimming pool, and everybody's out there, and I'm sitting in my chair, and I'm trying to scooch back to kind of sit up straighter and higher, and boom, right over backwards I went with my legs and my butt up in the air, dangling around, and I was laughing so hard I could not get up. And the more I tried to get up, the more I laughed. And it was just one of those ridiculous things that it's like, everybody enjoy the show, So, don't be so hard on yourself that you can't find something funny, even if it's embarrassing, right? And I like your take on when you go overseas and everybody's smiling all the time. I try to smile at everybody. I walk through the grocery store and I smile at people. I hold doors for people. I try to be kind. That's the best we can offer, is just to be kind. If you can't do anything, for anybody else, at least be kind. Be generous with your kindness. That it goes a long way. And people respond. You look somebody in the eye and smile, and it's always a bummer when people are like walking like zombies, and I don't even mean looking at your phone because we know that happens a lot too. I just saw a cartoon, I actually posted it on Facebook, of a robot saying to a guy, "We're here to replace you." And then in the next bit, they're all a bunch standing around robots with their phones in their hands. So it's like, there you go. That's how they're going to replace you. Again, don't take yourself so seriously. And if somebody does something embarrassing, help them feel okay about it. I mean, if they don't It's like my brother, don't let him get mad at you for laughing. Because if it was him on the other side of the table, he would have laughed too, trust me. So yeah, I want to talk some more. Where are we going to go with this? So what other funny movies do we have? Anybody? Robin Williams, oh my gosh. His stand-up, too. So good. Kind of filthy, but yeah.
I think movies are quite an interesting thing. It's about the experience, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I could say Buckaroo Banzai and everybody would roll their eyes. But in the time when I saw that the first time, the people I was with and the experience and the joy and the laughter all came together, and that was a thing.
And
it
you all
can be
bonded.
the silliest movie that nobody else gets, but the experience in the moment
Yeah.
made it for you.
Oh, exactly. Anybody else? What was it? Oh, the war, like the War of the Roses? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was a while back, the one. I think Kathleen Turner was in that one. Yeah, yeah, and Michael Douglas, yeah.
Well, I could share stories that I've been working hard to, and now it just kind of comes where I laugh myself, not at someone or at a situation, or the situation might be a dog running across the way, or a cat jumping out, there's squirrels chasing one another, and just laughing at that in the moment, and walking along and seeing and trying to find the good and the positive and the happy in there.
Oh, it's everywhere.
If you could speak
you
to
know?
how do you do that though more often?
Exactly what you just said. You coherently enjoy it. You see it, you observe it, you take it for the beauty and joy, for one thing, you know. And we all could use some joy in our lives, right? More joy, yay. You just have to. I don't see anybody in here that is like, constantly down. I see a lot of faces that look happy and, content with your life. But even the littlest things. I see squirrels chasing each other around the tree all the time. It's because I feed them, much to my neighbor's chagrin. But
I have more to share because I've been really working on this.
Okay.
The joy thing and the laughter and about a month ago, I saw a video of this woman who was doing this with her husband. So she would take a picture of the one thing that brought her the most joy out of the day. So she really had to watch for all those moments. Is this going to be it? Is this going to be it? And then take a picture of whatever, like it could be trees and the leaves. So I started doing that with my best friend. And so we would just exchange pictures of joy. And she was having a hard time with it. I said, I don't care if it's two green lights in a row. It's something that, just those little things that build up. And it's been amazing for both of us, so.
well, yeah. You're bouncing off of each other
Yeah.
with your happiness and your joy, and deliberately so. I mean, I think that's the thing. You're deliberately, cognizantly aiming for joy and laughter. Yeah, but when I'm not full of joy and laughter, trust me, the world stands back a minute. So, including my dog. He runs in the other room.
Can you speak to some of the physiology behind
Oh, you want me to
choosing
go back
joy
to the scientific part of it, eh?
at the quantum level?
At the what?
Just the joy and some of the physiology behind the positive aspects of laughing and
Oh, yeah,
joy.
the tension release, the healthy breathing, because laughing, of course, is a bit like singing. When you're singing and talking, you're breathing, And so when you're laughing, you're breathing too, unless you're laughing so hard you can't talk or breathe. We've all been there, I'm sure, at least once. Yeah, the stress release, I think, is the main thing for me. And it's kind of the goal for everybody, set a goal for yourself to find something happy at least once a day, something that makes you laugh. Everybody needs to laugh at least once a day. I'm a morning person, and I get up happy. I get up singing, much to my husband's chagrin because he's not a morning person and he likes the first hour to himself to watch the news and drink coffee. And I come in, hey, what are you doing? It's a beautiful morning. Sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. And he's like, shut up.
Stephanie, that story just reminds me of my mom. When we were growing up, I used to think that something was seriously wrong with my mom. Because she would get up in the morning and she would just be so happy and get up, it's time to go to school. And my sister, I'm the firstborn in my family, and so my sister and brothers, we would just look at her and go, what is wrong with this lady? But the older I got, the more I loved that, just that's a good way to start the day. It's just being up, positive, and enjoying the moment.
Yeah. I get a lot done in the morning because I have so much energy in the morning. I've got, like yesterday, I was like, it's noon and I'm done with everything. What am I going to do with myself now? Did you have a question? What did you say?
I don't remember the exact percentages, but it's something like kids will laugh 80 times a day, and adults are really lucky if they laugh 2 or 3 times a day, which is crazy. And I don't know if this happened to any of you when we were wearing masks constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You really had to look for things to be happy about during that.
You had to smile with your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. But that takes effort, and you have to smile a little harder behind the mask to get somebody to respond. And I still wear a mask a lot, and I get looked at a lot because it's, it's very political now. And I still look at people, and I don't even think about it, but people still smile back at me. Think of that. Wow.
Yeah. Even with a mask on, they smile back at you?
Especially.
Yeah, that's
Especially, yeah. It's in the eyes, it's in the head. I don't know, I've never really analyzed it. I'm just glad it happens.
I think happiness is more than just an expression. It's a whole body thing. When you're a happy person, you express it with your whole body. It's the way you walk. Now check you out. When you and I were walking in together, and what did you do? You smiled at me and said, good morning. And I said, good morning. Yeah, see, it's that simple. And then you told me your name, and I told you mine, and now we're friends. What you doing for dinner tonight? What are you cooking? Anybody else? We're not out of time yet, but we're getting close. I feel like I got to stretch this the hard way. Go ahead. Yeah. I love other people's stories, too. I'm not just a storyteller, I'm a story listener. That's what I do on my show.
Well, one of my fond memories is of my friend Linda Deere. She just moved back from California, but before she left in 2013, she would host parties in the summer. And so we would gather around in her yard and we would tell jokes, and there were contests for the best joke. So I love that, and I started with the joke of the day. After she left, I'm like, what do I do now? How do I get my source of laughter? So I started just reading the joke of the day. And then I had some friends. We would celebrate our birthdays at Benihana's. And one of the things we would do while we were there waiting for the food is to tell jokes. And it just brought so much laughter to us.
Yeah, jokes can be a lot of fun, but they can also be hurtful. That's one.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I worked for Alina as a trainer, and we had some videos that we would show. We had some jokes that we could tell. Well, we had to stop telling blonde jokes.
Blonde jokes?
Blonde jokes. Because, we didn't think about it. And there were some other jokes that had been told forever that we had to become sensitive to, because they were They had some racial undertones to them that we hadn't thought about. And there were some that had some undertones of poking fun at people with disabilities. And so, you know, a lot of things that we just take for granted in our culture that we can just laugh about, we have to really be sensitive. So you're right, humor is not for everybody, and you really have to be sensitive and aware.
Well, thank you for sharing that. There's definitely, I have to say, I used to tell a lot of jokes too, and I didn't care what they were about. I would hear them, I would repeat them. Until I discovered that the Polak jokes were all based on a lot of truthisms out of World War II. And once I got that little piece of information, it shut me down like a clamp. I said, I am sorry, God, that I was so offensive to people that, you know, I'd never even met, weren't even in my timeline. But yeah, so I became very hypersensitive to telling jokes, and almost to the part where it cut me, I stopped telling jokes altogether. I didn't stop hearing them, and I didn't stop laughing at them, but I stopped repeating them because I wasn't sure who my audience was going to be, and if it was going to fall, you know, harshly or as a funny, but even then, I don't want to repeat something like that. It's unfortunate.
Well, I had another observation, too, that comedy today, that some of the comedians do, back in the day could not be done today. And so some comedians feel shut down, that, you know, they were like, well, I was an equal opportunity offender. Why can't I continue to be an equal opportunity offender now?
I like that term, equal opportunity offender. Yeah. Yeah. The dad jokes? Yeah, have you seen the three guys that are the deer hunter dad jokes? Hilarious, and they laugh so hard at their own jokes, it's crazy. And then they make me laugh, and I start sharing them, because they're, you know, it's like the guy that had gotten in an accident, and he got his entire left side removed, but he's all right now. Just silly stuff like that, you know. So, wait, did you have something? No?
No dad jokes.
No dad jokes.
Heard some interviews about, you know, at what expense is this joke funny and stuff like that. And this is what you need to ask yourself, and that changes in the situation, and you do need to be sensitive to that.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a good thing, you know. I think we're moving in the right direction when we can self-correct, if you will, and, you know. Is that the fire alarm? Oh.
He's funny, right? It's not disturbing. It's not off-putting. He's funny.
Yeah, it's like, should we be exiting the building? Well, I guess, you know, we're oh, hi. The lady in the back here with the pretty top on?
I'm coming. I wish I had a joke in between.
Somebody's microwave dinner's done.
This is just a story that I have from way back when. It's always kind of makes me laugh now, but not at the time. I was heavy. I just had a baby. So I had a 2-year-old, about 2.5, and the baby was 6 months. And I thought, I've got to lose weight. So I went to this really insane weight loss clinic. That was the name of the clinic. And it was very structured, and you could only eat 500 calories a day. So you were starving all day. And at night, people would go in to be weighed. You had to be weighed, I think, every day or every few days. And so at night, if I took the kids with me, I had to because my husband was never home. So we went to the weight loss clinic. We sat there. The kids were being really good. I was like, oh, so proud of him, And I had already gone in and hadn't been weighed, and I was about to leave, and another lady walked in the door, and my little 2-year-old looked at her, and being that she figured anybody who had a large stomach had just had a baby or was going to have a baby, and she looked at the lady, and the lady was already, everybody in the room is like this, because they're so frustrated, they're so hungry, and all they want to do is think about getting home to eat that 250-calorie dinner. And she looks at the lady and she goes, "Mom, what kind of baby do you think is in that tummy?" Loud as could be. And everybody turned and they looked at me and they looked at her and the lady, of course, that was coming in the door just, it was so awful. And I quick gathered them up and got out the door as fast as I could. But now when I think of it, I think that was so funny. So I do love the things that kids say because they're so out there and they don't worry about hurting anybody's feelings at all. But they're so true and they can really be funny, I think.
Oh, yeah. So that reminds me of a little cartoon I saw. Remember the Dilbert cartoons? I don't think he does them anymore. But little Dilbert gets up on the speaking scale and it says, "1 at a time, please." That's my weird sense of humor. Just thought that was funny. Well, I got the purple light on, so we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Does anybody have questions for me?
Oh, Mark's got one.
Why do you think some people are so thin-skinned when it comes to humor?
Well, I can't generalize, but I can imagine that a lot of it would have to be from being bullied. People that get bullied have a tendency to become bullies. I know that from personal experience because I was bullied and then I turned into a bully in junior high and never forgave myself. But that's not necessarily being thin-skinned about jokes. It's just not being able to find anything funny about life, It might mean a deeper dive into their psyche to unravel some knots in there. Are you speaking from a personal place or? Okay. I try not to hang around with those people.
I think one word, defensiveness.
I look
we've
for
got
the
another.
funny. Oh yeah, defensiveness. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say insecurity. People are insecure about whatever you may be saying, joking. And then I work with a lot of people, disabled people and autistic people. So people on the spectrum have very literal. And it's funny as hell because they're just like, "Sarah, I didn't know, this, that about you." And they're just honest, straight up honest. And it's like refreshing to see that and just hear that and be like, "God, you're great. You're so truthful." And so they might be on the spectrum is what I'm saying too. Just another.
Yeah. That spectrum is a real thing, and there's a lot of spectrums. But I think we got to close up now. We're 1:15. And I just want to thank you all again for bearing with me and bearing with my stories. And I hope you learned a little something about yourself and about laughter. And I hope to see you at Laughing Yoga or Yoga Laughter, whatever it is. Laughing Yoga. Okay, thanks again.
Stephanie Allensworth, thank you so much. Sure appreciate it. It's a good and fun topic. And again, next week at 9 a.m., Laughing Yoga with Pete and Jan. And they can speak to what a wonderful workout that is. And this is the time I'd remind you that Lake Harriet is funded by your donations. In a moment, the ushers will come up and down with baskets. We do have Venmo. There's a little Venmo thing you can scan in there if you'd like. And your donations are a primary source of our income, and it allows us to keep the lights on and all of these amazing speakers coming for you. We invite you to be a partner with us as well. Go online and register as a member, and it will all help. So give what you can today. also becoming a donor. And check out our website. Thank you.
A laugh for the way my life has gone. A laugh for the love of a friend. A laugh for the fools in the eyes of the world. A love that will never end. Ha. Ah, ah, ah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, ah, ah. Let's hear a laugh for the man of the world who thinks he can make things work. Tried to build a new Jerusalem and ended up with New York. Ha ha. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ah, ha, ha.
Okay, Ella.
A laugh for the sun red falling through the thermal inversion haze.
Okay, here we
A laugh
go.
for the nuclear good time boys.
We're losing everyone in this transition.
Our days.
I'd like to bless this offering. If you might raise your hands and repeat after me. Oh, we're fine. God's perfect love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Thank you. Now, as we like to do, let's make a small circle here and join hands, and Elizabeth is going to send us off into our joyous day. Stephanie, goodness sakes, thank you.